Are you ready to find out what is the truth and the reality of working with virtual assistants? Now, I've been running a virtual assistant business for the last 6 years, so I have seen most of everything when it comes to what it's been like for us to work with virtual assistants, what it's like for our clients to have been working with virtual assistants, and how you can make your experience of working with virtual assistants just a little bit easier. Now, the first thing to get out of the way is they are not you and they're not supposed to be you. What that means is when it comes to working with virtual assistants, one of the things that I always see over and over again, and in fact, I wrote a whole book about this phenomenon as well, which is basically when someone hires a virtual assistant, they usually hire when they are tired, but they're not ready. And when they do hire, they expect that person to understand the business, understand them, understand what they're trying to do, which of course just calls for trouble. And the thing is, when it comes to working with virtual assistants, is they're not supposed to be another you. They're supposed to be scaling you, which is the title of my book, and scaling your business and being that complementary. So what I'm asking clients essentially all the time when they're jumping on calls with me and wanting to ask like, hey, do I need a virtual assistant? What kind of virtual assistant? I always ask them like, what are the things that will complement you in your business? And I always think of it as like gears, right? Like you have your strengths, you have your weaknesses, strengths, weaknesses. And when we're looking for a virtual assistant for you, you don't want another you because then you're just not like moving, right? We want someone who can find and basically supplement your weaknesses so then you guys can work together really, really well. You don't need another you. You need someone else who can strengthen you, who can complement you, who can work better and more consistently as you. So as a perfect, beautiful example for me, I look consistent, but it's only because of my assistant. If it was up to me, I would be reading my book or playing my video games or doom scrolling sometimes on TikTok too much. And it's because of my assistant who's more consistent at showing up as me that I look consistent across LinkedIn, YouTube, everywhere else. In fact, in the last 2-3 years that she's been taking care of my LinkedIn, if you've seen a post from me, it's not technically from me. If you've seen a message from me on LinkedIn, it's not technically from me. And it's basically she is more on top of things versus for me when it comes to the social media side, I can get distracted, ADHD, whatever it is you want to call it, where I could not just be consistent. Because for me, I am a writer, like I write posts all the time, but a lot of it is basically just me sitting down and thinking it through versus for my assistant, she sees all of the posts that I've done before and basically is able to replicate a little bit of more consistency versus if I was the one doing it. And she compliments me on that consistency side. So when you're looking for an assistant, again, you're not looking for another you, you're looking for someone who can complement you in all of the best ways. And you have to keep in mind that your assistant is not a mind reader. So again, they're not you. You have to give them the context of you, which brings me to the next point, which is essentially that you have to be the one to give your assistant context. Because just because they have had 10 years experience working with someone else as a virtual assistant doesn't mean that they will know what it would be like to work with you. You know, in the last client, they might be more on LinkedIn and you might be more on YouTube. So then even though they have social media experience, it's not immediately transferable to you. You might prefer morning meetings versus their last client might have preferred like afternoon meetings. So there's going to be preferences, again, even though they are very experienced virtual assistants, that as they bring it through to working with you might just not work well. So you have to be the one to give them the context of what it's like to work with you. And actually, honestly, it starts with you knowing what it is. So this is where creating things like your tutorials, your walkthroughs, when you're delegating to someone, you think of the wow method of thinking of when you're delegating them a task, you think of, why is this task a thing? Why does this need to get done? Basically, the outcome of the task. And then the last W is the who and the what of like, who are the resources or what are the resources that this task basically needs? A lot of the time when we have been doing a task for so long, we don't even know how to break it down to train or to give to someone else, just because for us it's super quick and easy. It takes us 5 minutes, but at the beginning it might have taken you like an hour to do, and you had got to the point where it is pretty efficient for you. But then when you're training or you're giving it to someone else, you can have a hard time giving them that context. That's why the wow delegation technique, basically that was my co-founder made up, really, really helps, because you can break down what this task or this outcome is. So you're trying to give to your assistant and make it easier for them to digest that, to understand it, and to have context of it so they can actually get it done. Because again, quiet, they're not mind readers, and you giving them context helps make that whole process just a little bit smoother. Another truth and reality of working with virtual assistants is they are task-based unless you change it. And what I mean by that is I always define the difference between a virtual assistant and an executive assistant, which is who we hired to XU. The main difference between the two is virtual assistants are usually task-based versus like executive assistants are output-based. So instead of just saying manage my email, which is a task-based, or just like managing it, you give them the outcome of like, hey, make sure that we don't miss opportunities in my email, and any to-dos should be on my to-do list right away. So it's not staying in your email, it's not just them going through and cleaning things up. It's making sure that for them, they're able to flag things that need to be discussed, that need to be written back to right away, and making sure that if there are any tasks that pop up on your email that need to be on your to-do list, they're managing that. So you're focused on outcomes versus tasks. And I see a lot of people not grasp that really, really well. It's one of the reasons why they think that, oh, it's just another virtual assistant for them. But in reality, if you make that switch of a mindset that you should be delegating outcomes and not just the task of it, you're giving them what is something that you're seeing, or what is something that you want to see that happen basically with this, and then they can start breaking it down into an actual task from the outcome that you give them. That's why, again, it's important to give them the context of what it is, so then they understand what is it that they're supposed to be working towards. Next is that it's best to work with assistant when you have a system. And this is something that we build in to XU basically for a lot of our clients, where we build up their SOPs, their assets, their templates, and what it is that they do in their business. But for you, if you're working directly with your assistant, this is going to be one of the key game changers that you might not even be thinking about just because you're a little bit in overwhelm, which is building up your systems with your assistant, or again, you might be building it up way before you have your assistant. So what this could be is you could just be mapping out essentially your client journey experience, basically, like what it's like for you to onboard a client or a customer, to give them to delivery, so on and so forth, or the daily, weekly, monthly things basically that need to get done in the business. And when you start breaking this down, especially with your assistant, when you're building the system with them, it's easier for them to take ownership of that, to manage that, and also to make changes ongoing as the business grows and as the business scales with them and with you. Just being able to know where things are at is going to be a key thing, especially if your assistant does take a break, go on vacation, take it as sick as it happens in life. At least you have a way to go back and check, how is this supposed to get done? You know, what are the things that I don't know within my business just because my assistant takes care of it? At least it's written down somewhere. Another one is your assistant grows with feedback. And what that means is the more that you give your assistant feedback on if they're doing well, if they're not doing well, and what could be done moving forward, it could actually be hindering them growing with you in your business. Because if you're just kind of accepting what your assistant gives you and you're just editing it on your own, what was the point of hiring them in the first place? If you gave them the task of managing your LinkedIn and you edit it anyway and then you repost it, again, what was the point of having the assistant? So if you're not giving that feedback of like, hey, you could do this better, or hey, you did this really, really well, I want this to be the thing that we're doing moving forward. So when you give them that feedback, it gives them the opportunity to see what are their own strengths and what their own weaknesses. It also gives them the opportunity to just grow and not be too hindered by the day-to-day, because they know what they're really good at and what are the things that they can work on to be better. Another reality of having an assistant is they're not supposed to be your everything assistant. And this was something that honestly a little triggered and ticked me off when I saw it as a term on LinkedIn as a post a few years back, but I still remember it, where people hire the assistant to just do everything. And in 2XU, I really make it to a point when we're talking to clients or potential clients that if you're hiring an assistant, they're not supposed to do everything in your business just because you can do everything in your business. They're not supposed to be the one doing your admin, your content, your sales, your web dev work, but just because you've been doing it when you started your business because you had to, it doesn't mean that you're delegating everything to your assistant. You want to think of it as roles. So like you have your person, your assistant. You could also have an admin assistant. You can have a social media assistant. It doesn't have to be that all of those in one. Now at the beginning, yes, it could be possible. Yes, my assistant does do the admin and social media work, but everything else, the bookkeeping, the web design, everything else, I do have other people for that who can focus on it, who are the experts at it, rather than giving it all to my assistant and overwhelming her, because I do want her to stay long term. She's been with me for 3 years, and I want her to keep growing and keep essentially having sustainable growth, and not getting her off one board where she's doing everything and do the other board where she's not doing anything. I want her to have, basically I want to make sure that the way that she's growing is aligned to who she also wants to be. So giving her specific roles and what she's doing in the business helps me and her of making sure that we have clearly defined roles. And of course, when it comes to working with everyone else in the team inside of 2XU, it also helps them having clearly defined roles of what to expect and what not to expect based on what it is that they're doing. So you have to be really clear about the kind of assistant that you're hiring, of like, is it your person? Is it your executive assistant versus are they going to be doing different types of roles within your business? And honestly, another key thing when it comes to working with a virtual assistant is they become essentially a partner within your business, not just another team member. They basically will see your business from where it's at to as you grow it, to as you systematize it, as you get it better and better, that they become, of course, invested in the growth in what it is that you guys are doing. And that is going to be a natural thing versus like if you just hired someone to just do the tasks, to just do the work, then they might just be here for the paycheck and then they go. But if you want to really grow and work with a virtual assistant, that's how you think of it. It's like, this is your strategic partner. This is your business partner. This is the person who's going to be working within your business to help you grow it, and not just another person to just check off all of the boxes. Now, again, as my own assistant hits 3 years working with me, I am just super grateful that I have basically had this experience for the last couple of years of having a really, really good assistant. I'm looking forward to growing with her. But I know for a lot of people that it might not be as good of an experience as we've had, where they might not just be, where they've had mismatches, where there's expectations that are not met, where they might have the best guidance to get started. And if you want to have the best guidance to get started, of course, make sure to book a call with us below. Looking forward to meeting with you. And if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below any questions you might have when it comes to working with an assistant. I would love to know. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Thursday on how to grow your business with a virtual assistant and AI. And if you want your assistant to be trained more on how to be an assistant, make sure to have them check out my other channel here. And of course, check out the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing and wonderful day. And with the small steps matters. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.